We turned one house into 5. This is a 5-unit townhouse in the centre of Upper Hutt. Coming up, we'll show you footage of the build from start to finish, I'll break down the design, and we'll discuss elements of the build in detail. Stick around to the end of the video to see these amazing finished homes. Existing site was a 506 square metre section, and it had a old 1960s brick concrete tile house there. The house was actually starting to fall apart, had had some serious cracking in the brick, really quite run down. Because of the width of the section, it was actually quite hard to get 2-story units in here working within the sunlight planes. And so real early on, we made the decision to make them single level builds and target a different part of the market. One of the first things we do on site is a topographical survey, and it shows you everything. So existing dwelling, existing garage. So this site is about 66 meters above sea level, relatively flat across the whole thing. From this point here to this point here is only 300 mils. In saying that, the build platform is slightly higher than the road, and when you're pushing right up to the front edge of the boundary, that's something to think about. We did have to put a small retaining wall in. You can see where the existing fence is. That fence is going to need to get removed and put exactly on the boundary. So first things first, we had to demolish the existing house, and the digger made short work of this, and it was gone before you know it. I always think this phase is crazy because someone spent a year or more building that house, and then in a day a digger goes through it and it's a pile of rubble again. Unfortunately, not much in here we could recycle, especially being a brick exterior and a concrete tile roof. It's a cost versus benefit scenario. We even attempted to do the floorboards to pull them up, but they were just splintering. Once we demolished the house, we site scraped. You can see that we're bringing the stormwater and the sewer up the north side of the property. This here talks about what each lot is going to end up with, how we're chopping up the 508 square meters into give or take 100 square meter lots, 60 square meter buildings, site coverage. Again, these are all new rules that have promoted building. Don't get me wrong, we shouldn't be doing this kind of intensification everywhere, and it still needs to go through an urban planner, which has, and these are all walking distance to the train station. That's the key here, is that access to public transport. We had to put services in, and then we clean it up again. And then we have to mark out our slabs, and then we drill all our piles. And then we come and do the subfloor drains, and that makes a mess, and then we clean it up again. And then we can actually start our foundations. Sammy, can arrange it? Here you can see our foundation design, and it is one giant 290 square meter slab. All these ins and outs are the front doors to the units. All these are like out to the patio areas. You can see here where each firewall or party wall is going to go to chop up the slabs. Here you can see the engineering design. These circles here are the pile layouts, and you have the riprap layout as well. Both these slabs are on their own piles. Although the slabs are joined with concrete, there's still 5 independent systems. It's still been treated as 5 independent slabs. Once the slab was prepped, concrete was laid, and I like to say it is now set in stone. You know what else we need to set in stone? Our subscribers. We're on a mission to get 100k subs before the end of the year. Go ahead, click subscribe, help us out. Next up, frames come to site, and these are pre-made in a factory and get delivered in bundles, and they are per lot. Again, the theme carries on that each lot is individual. So there's a wall on one side and an intertenancy firewall. On this site here, we use a product called Core Rock. which is an aerated concrete product between two sheets of metal. And then on the other side is another set of frames. Now that the frames are stood, this is the perfect time to show you the floor plan. So you already know it's 5 townhouses in a row. Lot 1, front door is accessed off the footpath and you come into the kitchen area. Living over here, small hallway here with a wash cupboard at the back and bedroom on the left and a bedroom on the right. Moving down, lots 2, 3 and 4 mimic the same floor plan. Now down the back unit, slightly different layout as we were able to make use of the setbacks in a different way. You come through the front door and then we've got the bedrooms first up on the left and right. Bathroom in the middle, and then a kitchen, living, dining here. And each unit had its own sliding door out to a north-facing patio. So frames are stood and we've followed off all the appropriate fixing guides. We tie the studs to the bottom plates and we tie the lintels to the studs and we tie the top plates to the studs as well. It all gets fixed together and basically that means that all the pieces of the frames are now connected to the foundations and they are not going anywhere. Now we can put on our roof trusses and we can get them all plumb and level. So once roof framing's finished, purlins are up, valley boards are in, we can lay the roofing. Again, this is an awesome milestone on site and it's great to now have a roof over our heads to do indoor work when it's wet. Here's the roof plan here, and you can also see where the firewall's here in the dashed red line. Every one of these units had to feed into their own stormwater detention tank, which seems crazy, but again, the idea is that each owner has to maintain and look after their own unit. Next step we do is get ready for cladding. We have a pre-wrap and a pre-clad. Pre-wrap makes sure we've done all of our fixings and tie downs correctly, and then we put the wrap on the building, we install cavity battens, we install the windows, we put the head flashings in. All of this work is a second layer of defense. If the weather penetrates through the cladding, it hits this cavity and it hits the flashings and it gets sent back to the outside of the building. The cavity is designed to let airflow through, which whips moisture away from the building, among other things. And now we can crack on with cladding. On this build here, we are using vertical, linear oblique, and horizontal stria. And you can see how that looks on this elevation here. Once cladding's on the wall, we get the outside painted and we can now crack on with the inside. This includes pre-wire, pre-plumb and insulation. That all then gets signed off by the council, as well as checking all our bracing elements, and we can now crack on with jib, plasterboard and plaster. Jib goes on the wall, plaster goes up. We come back in and we put on skirtings and architraves and we hang all our interior doors, and now interior painting can crack on. We did our best to stack this up, so while one person's finishing off Unit 5, someone else is in Unit 1 and working their way down the line. Now we're on the home stretch. We do hard flooring, we do kitchen cabinets and bench tops. All these kitchens had a stone bench and every one of those benches has to get individually measured. So cabinets go in, stone bench gets measured. Now we can crack on with soft flooring. We fit off as much electrical and plumbing as we can. We get appliances delivered to site. It's the home stretch, it's all coming together. At the same time, the team is outside. Lots of concrete, lots of planting, lots of work, lots of digging. 5 units ready to hand over to 5 happy homeowners. Let's take a look inside one of the units. It was a privilege to add 5 more homes to the system and to have 5 happy people living in them. We're doing lots more work like this in the hut and we're documenting it weekly. Go ahead, click subscribe and follow along.